Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and I am here today to do a quick review of Tyrese's new single Legendary, which features Ceelo Green. And if you haven't had a chance to check this out, I highly recommend it. It is a very powerful piece, and right now the video only has about 57,000 views on it, and that number should be much higher. So Tyrese has taken on this project to bring light to the whole current racial climate of America today and to pay homage to Black Lives Matter. The video is 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The video on YouTube says 8:47, but it's actually supposed to be 8 minutes and 46 seconds, which we know is the time that Officer Derek Chauvin had his knee on George Floyd's neck. When the video opens up, there's a body on the ground and Skittles are rolling out away from the body. We know that that is Trayvon Martin. And then it goes on to a man on the ground and a pack of cigarettes and some loosies on the ground, which are loose cigarettes. And we know that that is Eric Gardner. And then it goes on, and then we have a man on the ground and police officers, holding him down, and one with their knee on his neck, which we know is George Floyd. There's a lot of cinematography, a lot of imagery showing images and photos from Black Lives Matter protests from around the country, a lot of images with children that are out in the protests and the signs that they are displaying, saying, please don't kill us, why does it have to be this way? And so the video is very well done. It's very timely. It was released on Friday to coincide with the March on Washington that took place in Washington, D.C. And so I don't know if that overshadowed it. The March on Washington was several hours long. I don't know if they actually played the video at the march. That would have been very powerful, I think, to debut it during the march. I can't say that that didn't happen because I was in and out on the footage for the March on Washington, which also was pulled together after George Floyd was murdered. Reverend Al Sharpton came up and said that, they wanted to do something. I believe it is the 57th anniversary of the March on Washington, which Dr. Martin Luther King organized. And so, just a lot. I think we're seeing a lot more with this Black Lives Matter, the current environment. People are really going beyond just marching on the streets. And to be honest, it looks like the whole Black Lives Matter movement has been co-opted by several political organizations. And so it's good that people are using their platforms and their creativity, to still bring light, even though there's a lot of craziness going on with the protests. And so there was an article that came out, and it says, as for the visual, Tyrese partnered with director Deon Taylor, Black and Blue opposite Oscar-nominated Moonlight actress Naomi Harris, to fashion Legendary into a short film so as to fully capture the anguish, sorrow, and raw emotions experienced by Black people in society, using a mix of dramatic reenactments and footage from Black Lives Matter protests. The short film itself stands as an act of protest. The full Legendary video lasts an exact 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The amount of time Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin spent with his knee pressed into George Floyd's neck, resulting in Floyd's death. And so the music, there's like a lot of rapping going in, but just the whole mood of the video it really, encapsulate how people are feeling and how it feels right now. Like everything just feels so heavy and almost dreamlike. Like I know a lot of us are watching all this unfold on social media and on TV, and we just feel sad and we can't believe that all of this is taking place. And then there's a scene where he pays homage to Breonna Taylor, and that part is really sad because you have a sign that comes up talking about Breonna Taylor. Then it goes to two people laying in the bed, and then police arriving. There's blue and red flashing lights, to symbolize police. And then you hear the gunshots, but then the screen goes black. And so I thought that was very powerful. And I believe that this video moved me so much because I came across it after being on Instagram and seeing a video that Amanda Seales had put out after learning that Chadwick Boseman had passed away. And she's crying, her hair isn't done. She, technically she looks a mess, okay? But it was just so raw and so real emotion, and she's trying to pray. She doesn't know what to say in her prayer. And then it was like, I'm sitting there crying, watching this video. And then I say, okay, let me, go over to YouTube, see what's going on YouTube. And the first thing that popped up was Tyrese's video. And so I was in a whole different headspace when I watched the video. I waited, to let some time pass. And then today I pulled the video back up, and I actually, ended watching it with the same emotions that I did when I saw it on yesterday. So for me, I give Tyrese an A+. Tyrese also stated in an interview with the Washington Post that he's completely irrelevant in music and he hasn't been on the charts in a while. And he says that I have not had a presence. I have not done anything to contribute hotness or relevancy tied into music. When I say that George Floyd's death has given me life, this is what I mean. He has lit a fire in me that has had me sitting dormant for some time. And Tyrese, he also talks about how this whole project was inspired by the death of George Floyd and the inhumane way that he was treated that day in Minneapolis. And I actually forgot Tyrese can sing so good. I saw Tyrese in concert one time and they booed Tyrese off the stage because he did more talking than he did singing. And so, that kind of like left a bad taste in my mouth. Like Tyrese is full of it. But this video, it brought me back into the fold, it reminded me that Tyrese is a really good singer. And like I say, the music, the rap, Ceelo's part, it just all came together and it's a beautiful video. The video also pays homage to the Black Panther Party. There's some images, where they're in like this junkyard and you have people dressed, in all black with the black Tams on their head, black shades, as Tyrese and Ceelo are performing. You get that whole Black Panther vibe going on. And then they have a cameo of Benjamin Crump. You guys know is a civil rights attorney that has been involved in a lot of these cases, including the case of Jacob Blake that is about a week old at this point. And so just overall, I love the video. I can't stop saying it enough that I really, really love this video. He even does a cameo appearance for the rattan chair. And if you didn't grow up in the late 60s, early 70s, I think it was, I know at some point in time in my life, we had that rattan chair, or we knew somebody who had that big rattan chair, that was part of the pro-black movement. Everybody had to have one in their homes, and they sold them at the mall in, oh my God, I can't think of the name of that store where they used to sell those chairs, but they used to be very popular during a very pro-black era. So I wouldn't be surprised to see these rattan chairs resurfacing in people's homes. And I believe Tyrese's last project came out, or his last CD came out in 2015, which was Black Rose. And he says that he's already gotten a tremendous response from the music, including Viola Davis, Denzel Washington, Vin Diesel, Taraji P. Henson, Lee Daniels, Ava DuVernay, Todd Phillips, Steve Harvey, and Fast and Furious director Justin Lin. And he talks about in another interview about how Beyonce's Black is King has changed his life and has changed who he is forever. And so it looks like, you know, he's about to take his creative genius, you know, and do it something for good and to get back into his music. After the scene with Breonna Taylor, I believe the vocals on the video ends. If they don't end at that point, they end shortly thereafter, and then the rest of the video is just this, you know, someone playing a saxophone with this really heavy vibe to it. And so the video ends where we're back at the scene where the guy has the officer has his foot on the guy's neck, and then, you know, people in the crowd are yelling for him to stop, and a black man eventually breaks through the crowd, gets around police, and he goes over, you know, to help the guy that's on the ground that we know is supposed to be George Floyd, or representative of George Floyd. And a police officer comes up, and it's a woman, a black woman, and, you know, we don't miss that imagery. And so the black woman gets out of the car, and we can't hear what she's saying, but based on her movement, you know, she's yelling at these white officers like, what do you think you're doing? Get back, get away from him. And then the scene goes back to the guy on the ground and the black guy that broke through the crowd, and he helps him up off the ground and embraces him. And the video ends basically with Tyrese's character crying into the arms of another black man, which is sort of like, you know, my brother's keeper. There's another quote from the article that says, it's a quote from Tyrese. It says, "Legendary is powerful because the music and the video are meant to shift how we are seen. We're in the middle of a revolution. As Black people, we are fighting two pandemics, COVID-19 and systemic racism. The video painfully underscores the plight of our community while asserting that Black lives matter. As for the music, the proudest moment of my life is when attorney Benjamin Crump said, 'Legendary is the new anthem of the movement.'" And so Legendary arrives just ahead of a wave of new music to include single Black Excellence featuring Rick Ross in October and a new Tyrese album later this year. And so you guys go and check it out. Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.